Hello, it is me, Johanna, and I'm back at it again teaching you business management. Today will be a bit weird because, yes, I know I literally just did the last chapter of the business book, but I realized that I have not done chapter 1, so I will be doing 1.1 today. Again, I have no credentials, I'm just a good student, hopefully. I'm probably teaching you the right thing. I hope that instills some type of trust within you and confidence in me. Okay, so the first thing is to know how a business looks like. So we're going to go through a basic model of a business. So a business can be represented in three parts. First, there is the input. This is essentially all of the resources involved. Then there's the add value, which is what your business does to add value. It's pretty, I guess, self-explanatory to a degree. And then there is output, which is your product or service or good. I mean, obviously, it depends on what you're producing. So the input could be human. So that's human resources, essentially, who are your employees? It could be physical. It could, like, physical as in, like, materials. I don't know what, but, like, let's say wood or something. Financial, obviously you need money to do these things, and enterprise. Now, if you're wondering what enterprise means, it's basically the idea behind the business, like the business idea. The added value comes in all the functions of a business. We'll talk about the functions very soon, so you'll find out about that. And then the difference between a good and a product is good is the tangible product. It could be, for instance, like raw materials, like wood or anything like that. Meanwhile, the product is anything the business is offering up to sell. Some important terminology to know is whether the business is capital intensive or whether it is labor intensive. Now, this is quite self-explanatory, but essentially, capital intensive means that the input used is mostly land and machinery. Meanwhile, labor intensive means that most of your input is, well, obviously labor, human resources, you're using a lot of employees, stuff like that. So the functions of a business, what are they? So there are four main ones. There's HR, finance and accounts, marketing, and operations management. So HR, you probably have heard of this before, people going to complain to HR and stuff like that. So that's human resources. That's where you decide who gets fired, who gets hired, how do you train your employees, resolve conflicts between employees, all that stuff. Finance and accounts, again, you probably know what this is. They make the budgets, they, do all the finance stuff, the balance sheet, all of that stuff that you'll learn in some of the other chapters of the business management book. Then there's marketing. This is talking about promotion, so advertising and stuff like that, but also about branding and about pricing strategy and all that stuff. And then there's operations management, which is essentially, at the factories where things are actually being produced, where everything is, the actual product is being made. So this next thing surprisingly pops up a lot on the tests we've done in classes. So I think this is quite important to just keep in your mind. So there are business sectors. So businesses can be different things. They can also be in multiple sectors. But for now, we'll just talk about the individual sectors. So primary sector, those are raw materials. If you have a business that does farm cattling, to get milk and stuff like that, that's raw materials, Secondary sector would be processing raw materials. So this is anything that you produce, manufacture. So let's say like an iPhone or something. Tertiary sector provides services, any services. So, this could be restaurants or, anything like that. Quaternary provides services focused on knowledge. So this is more like universities or like anywhere where they're providing information to you to teach you things. So businesses can integrate in many different ways. So there is horizontal integration and vertical integration. So horizontal integration would be to acquire or merge with a business engaged with the same activities that you are doing. So let's say you are in the secondary sector, so you're manufacturing a product, that would be taking another company and integrating with that company or merging with that company that also does that. The same thing that you're doing. So let's say you're producing iPhones and you decide to take a company that produces Samsungs. I don't know. But something that's doing two businesses that are doing the same thing. Now, why would you do this? So first of all, you can increase your market share and your market power. So what I mean by this is that let's make a very simplistic model. Okay, this model really sucks, but let's imagine hypothetically in your brain you'll figure it out, I'm sure. So if you say you have a market and there are only two companies in this market, so this market is like fairly new. There aren't a lot of companies in this market. And you are one of them, and there's someone else who's the other one. And you merge with the other one, then suddenly you have the entire market. That's completely yours. You have entire market power, and your market share is everything. So that's essentially what that means. Then for vertical integration, this is when you acquire a business in an earlier or later stage of the production chain. So this would be acquiring a supplier. Let's say you, I don't know, sell bread, but you acquire a supplier that gives you flour. So you're taking the person that's like behind you in the process. But it could also be forward. So for instance, if you make shoes, but you purchase Stadium or Intersports or whatever the hell the stores are called, something, so that you have the stores to actually sell the shoes. I don't know why I wrote wholesaler here. That was not what I meant to say. But yes, essentially getting someone that's in front of you in the process. So what is an entrepreneur? So I'm sure you've heard this word be thrown around a lot, but essentially it is someone who demonstrates enterprise and takes initiative to make a profit. Now, again, enterprise means business idea, someone who brings forward ideas and initiates. This means that you're innovative. So if someone asks you what's a feature of an entrepreneur, you say that they're innovative. There you go. That's what that is. Now, what is an intrapreneur? You hear these words are very similar, but here and you can probably guess what it means. Intrapreneur, it's someone who's employed by a large organization to have entrepreneurial thinking. So this is an entrepreneur that's in a company, so it's called an intrapreneur. That's very simple to remember. But employed is the main component here. If they ask you, what's the difference between an entrepreneur and an intrapreneur, you have to write that the intrapreneur is being employed. So we're almost at the end now of 1.1. Just hang in there. There's only like one larger aspect left. So this is all about starting a business. So first we'll go through, why do you start a business? Now I urge you to just sit there and think for yourself, why would I start a business? And then just write down that. I also don't think they'll ever ask you in a test, why would you start a business? Because that seems like a very weird question to ask. So first of all, for rewards. By rewards, essentially if you're working for someone else, they get part of the profit. Instead, you can get all the money for yourself, Independence, you're your own boss. Who wouldn't like that? Necessity. Sometimes you maybe got fired and you just need to do something, so you start a business. You have an interest in a certain thing, a passion, maybe finding the gap. So basically, if you're looking at society, you see an issue and nobody's made a product yet that fixes that issue, then you've found a gap and boom, you'll have first mover's advantage, which is basically you're the first person to ever do that. So then customers will only have one place to look for, things. So obviously that's a really big advantage. Maybe you just really like sharing an idea. If you really believe in something, you might want others to share that with you and, it'll be a nice little opportunity. So what is the process of starting a business? So there are 6 steps. So step 1 is organizing the basics. Basically, what is your business actually going to do? Then step 2, that's refining the business idea through market research. You research, do people actually need this thing that I want to make? All of that stuff. Then there is step 3, which is planning the business. So this is sort of like narrowing down everything. making a plan so that you can share it with potential stakeholders to see if they want to invest, stuff like that, because you will need finance, obviously, which is coming up in a step very soon. Then there is establishing legal requirements. So obviously you have to research this, because if you do something illegal, you might get in very, very much trouble. Also, you might want to know like the tax rules and stuff like that in your country, because you might want to choose to start your company in a different country so that you pay less tax, stuff like that. Then step 5, raising the finance. So you need to get money somewhere, whether it's through loans, which is it's going to be harder to get a loan if you're a business that is just starting up, like a startup. Because why would the bank trust you to be able to pay the money back? What if your business just fails? They don't get any money, but you have to get money from somewhere, right? Then there is step 6, which is testing the market. Essentially, you launch a product and see how it goes. And if it goes badly, you're going to have to go back, do some more research, fix the problem. So some potential problems that could arise when you're starting a business is weak economy. This is what I was talking about before. Why would a bank trust you to be able to pay back and with interest if they have no confidence in you? Obviously, this is also why it's important to make a plan, because if you make a plan, then there might be some confidence in what you're doing and stuff like that. If you have poor research or poor planning, then obviously your products may not be sold, or they may not be working properly, stuff like that. There's also a huge issue, which is that you don't have any brand awareness. Nobody recognizes your brand because you've never done anything before. So you have to build up all that, and if you don't, then you're not likely to get that many sales, because obviously if you have a good brand, then people may come back because you get customer loyalty. So elements of a business plan. So you need an aim, you need your objectives, these are your goals for your business, and you need the actual business idea, the enterprise. Then you need to also include planning for each of the functions of a business. What is your finance plan? What is your HR plan? What is your operations plan? And what is your marketing plan? Those are the important elements of a business plan. Why do you have a business plan? Again, you want confidence for your stakeholders, you want to motivate yourself, you also want to be focused on your objectives, and a plan can help you focus. You also might want to measure your success based on something, and if you have a plan, then you can go, oh, have I followed the plan? Do I have what the plan says I should have? If I do, then I am successful. If I don't, then I failed. And that was pretty much it for chapter 1.1. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you learned something. I know it's a bit weird of me to be jumping from chapter 5 to chapter 1, but revision is starting now, and I think it's important to really go through all of the aspects. So feel free to subscribe, like, and comment. I will be posting more. You can also follow me on Instagram at Johanna Frennert. I don't even know if you can see, my handwriting is so trash, but Frennert is Frennert, and if you want to message me, you can totally do that. I usually answer. You can also comment down below. I will also answer if you ask me any questions. So, goodbye. Thank you for watching.